How do you turn a single haunted house story into an entire cinematic universe? Well, the Conjuring team nailed it.
Since its 2013 debut, it has become one of the most successful horror franchises of the modern era. Audiences loved it, critics praised it, and James Wan, the mastermind behind the madness, became horror's golden boy overnight. And here's the creepiest part. It's all rooted in the real-life work of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who spent over 50 years chasing ghosts, demons, and things most of us would sprint away from. But with all the sequels, prequels, and spin-offs, the timeline's a twisted, blood-soaked mess. Let's rewind to the very start and piece it together, film by film. The Nun, 2018, Romania, 1952. The nightmare begins in the shadowy halls of the Abbey of St. Carter. After a nun takes her own life, the Vatican dispatches Father Burke, a priest haunted by his own tragic past, and Sister Irene, a novitiate plagued by prophetic visions. They find the nuns praying in shifts day and night to keep something evil locked away. The abbey's grim origin, built by a demon-worshipping duke who summoned Valac,
aka the Defiler, the Profane, the Marquis of Snakes.
Christian knights once sealed Valac away with an ancient relic containing the blood of Christ, but World War II bombings cracked that seal. With help from a local farmer nicknamed Frenchie, Irene uses the relic to banish Valac, or so it seems. In truth, the demon secretly possesses Frenchie, hitching a ride into the outside world.
So who or what even is Valac? Inspired by the Lesser Key of Solomon,
Valac in demonology appears as a winged child riding a two-headed dragon. The Conjuring films swap that for a trauma-inducing pale nun, but keep the serpent symbolism. The demon's titles and snake connections remain, proof that medieval metal album names can also be pure nightmare fuel. Annabelle Creation, 2017, Southern California, 1955. In 1943, dollmaker Samuel Mullins and his wife lose their daughter Annabelle in a tragic accident.
In grief, they attempt to contact her spirit through dark magic,
But instead, summon a demon. The creature tricks them into letting it inhabit one of Samuel's dolls. By 1955, the Mullins opened their home to orphan girls in Sister Charlotte, who once stayed at the Carta Monastery and even has a photo showing Valac in the background. One orphan, Janice, finds the cursed doll and unleashes chaos. The demon targets her, eventually possessing her completely. Janice escapes, renames herself Annabelle, and is adopted by the Higgins family, directly connecting this prequel to 2014's Annabelle.
The Nun 2, 2023. France, 1956.
4 years after The Nun, Valac is still alive, lurking inside Frenchie. A string of brutal deaths sweeps across Europe, with priests and nuns found twisted, burned, or worse. The Vatican sends Sister Irene, now living quietly in Italy and still recovering from her literal hellspawn memories, back into the fight, this time paired with novice Sister Deborah. Valak's goal this time? The Eyes of St. Lucy, a relic granting godlike power. Irene discovers she's a descendant of St. Lucy, tying her to Lorraine Warren. That explains the visions, psychic abilities, and the Warrens' lifelong war with the paranormal. The final showdown sees Irene blessing barrels of wine into the blood of Christ and flooding Valac with it, taking down both the demon and its goat-headed monster form. Frenchie survives, but Irene knows evil never truly dies. Annabelle, 2014, California, 1967. The cursed doll resurfaces when John Thorne gifts it to his pregnant wife, Mia. Their neighbors, the Higgins, are murdered by their adopted daughter Annabelle and her equally psychotic boyfriend. What follows is chaos. Cops arrive, bullets fly, the boyfriend is gunned down, and Annabelle slits her own throat while cradling the doll, passing the hellish torch. The demon targets Mia and her newborn next. After failed attempts to hand the doll to Ed and Lorraine Warren, a bookstore owner, Evelyn, sacrifices herself to save Mia's baby. The doll vanishes until it reappears in a vintage shop bought by a woman or her daughter Debbie. The same Debbie who opens The Conjuring, telling the Warrens sometimes the doll moves by itself. The Conjuring, 2013, Rhode Island, 1971. The OG entry introduces demon-hunting legends Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're called to help the Perrin family, whose rustic farmhouse quickly becomes a paranormal nightmare. Dog won't enter, clock stop at 3:07 a.m., and Carolyn Perrin faces something far darker than flickering lights. The Warrens uncover the land's sinister history. Bathsheba Sherman, a 19th century woman accused of witchcraft, caught trying to sacrifice her child before hanging herself, cursing all who'd lived there. Soon, Carolyn is possessed. With no time for church approval, the Warrens perform an emergency exorcism, banishing Bathsheba, at least for now. Before the credits roll, 2 breadcrumbs drop. Ed mentions a case in Long Island
Involving the real Lutz family, the Amityville Horror,
and the Warrens lecture on Maury's Franchithoriode, foreshadowing their fateful link to Valac. Annabelle Comes Home, 2019, California, 1972. A year later, the Warrens are full-fledged demonology celebrities. Half the country think they're saints, the other half think they're scam artists with a crucifix collection. They'd locked Annabelle in their artifact room, but while away, their daughter Judy stays with babysitter Mary Ellen. Enter Daniela, Mary Ellen's grief-stricken friend, who breaks into the vault to contact her late father and unleashes Annabelle. Cue havoc! The ferryman demands death coins. The black shuck prowls the yard. The bride dress turned wear is homicidal, and haunted samurai armor lurks in the shadows. Judy realizes only locking Annabelle back will silence the madness. Order is restored, but the takeaway is clear. Too many cursed objects, too little peace. The Curse of La Llorona, 2019, Los Angeles, 1973. Loosely tied to the Conjuring verse, but still expanding the mythos. This entry introduces La Llorona, born from Mexican folklore. She is the weeping woman, doomed for drowning her children. Social worker Anna's family attracts her wrath. Father Perez, still haunted by Annabelle, connects the story to the larger lore, steering Anna towards Rafael Olvera,
an ex-priest turned folk healer.
Together, they silence her curs, hoping she'll never cry for another soul again. The Conjuring, 2016, Enfield, England, 1977. The film opens with Lorraine's seance at the Amityville house, where she's haunted by visions of a sinister nun and a prophecy of Ed's death. Meanwhile, the Hodgson family, especially young Janet, is plagued by the ghost of cranky Bill Wilkins, the former homeowner. Furniture flies, door slam, and Janet starts speaking in growling voices. Bill isn't alone. Enter the Crooked Man, a twisted nursery rhyme nightmare. When footage catches Janet faking some incidents, skepticism builds. Even the Warrens begin to doubt and decide to leave until Lorraine realizes Bill is just a pawn. Valac is the true puppet master. Remembering the demon's name from her visions, Lorraine banishes Valac mid-climactic showdown, saving Ed and freeing Janet. But the danger feels far from gone. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, 2021, Connecticut, 1981. Based on the real R. Cheyenne Johnson trial. This was the first U.S. case where demonic possession was used as a legal defense. Mid-exorcism of 8-year-old David Glotzo, Ed suffers a heart attack and the demon jumps into Arnie, the little boy's sister's boyfriend. Not long after, Arnie stabs his sleazy landlord to death, claiming he remembers nothing.
The Warrens discovered the possession was orchestrated by a cold-blooded occultist tied to the disciples of the Ram cult.
Using a cursed totem, the ritual required 2 murders to be complete. Ed nearly kills Lorraine under its influence, but smashes the block altar in time, breaking the spell and saving Arnie. The Conjuring, Last Rites, 2025, Pennsylvania, 1986.
The Warrens' final chapter draws from the Smurl haunting.
The family reported one daughter shoved down a stairwell, their German shepherd hurled against the wall,
and patriarch Jack Smurl claimed he was sexually assaulted by an evil ghost.
According to the Warrens, the house was home to 4 distinct entities: the spirits of an elderly woman, a violent young girl, a restless man who died there, and a demon.
With plot details still under wraps, all eyes are on whether Last Rites ends with one last miracle, a devastating sacrifice, or both. Either way, it's set to deliver a dramatic, emotional send-off to the Warrens' legacy.
There you have it, a complete, unholy timeline of the Conjuring Universe. If you're as haunted by this franchise as we are, like, subscribe to First Curiosity, and drop a comment about your favorite supernatural story.